Ed Webster, born in Boston in 1956, is one of America's most well-known rock climbers and high-altitude mountaineers. His first ascents and new routes on rock, ice, and also up Mount Everest are legendary. After learning to rock climb at age 11 on a 20-foot cliff near his home, Ed ascended progressively more challenging routes in Massachusetts and New Hampshire through high school and during college in Colorado. Ed documented his most significant ascents in a multitude of magazine articles he wrote and photographed. Eventually, his work was published worldwide in Climbing Magazine, Alpinist Magazine, the New York Times Sunday Magazine, Rolling Stone, and Sports Illustrated, amongst many others. But it was Ed's 3 back-to-back Everest expeditions during the 1980s, Mount Everest's golden age, that Ed Webster became a mountaineer of world renown. In the spring of 1988, on his 3rd Everest expedition, Ed was one of the international 4-man team that pioneered a brand new route up the peak's most dangerous and remote side, the 12,000-foot-high, avalanche-raked precipices of Everest's Kangshung East Face in Tibet. Ed and his 3 partners, Robert Anderson, Paul Thier, and Stephen Venables, climbed the world's highest mountain via a never-before-attempted route, in adventurous and impeccable style, with no oxygen bottles, no radios, or no Sherpa assistance. To this day, their ascent is one of the most remarkable ever achieved up Mount Everest. Ed's 1988 team is still the smallest, just 4 friends, with no outside help, to ascend one of the major new routes up Mount Everest. It was the ultimate climb up the ultimate mountain. Yet this historic ascent and descent, chronicled in Ed's best-selling 5-star reader-rated autobiography, Snow in the Kingdom, My Storm Years on Everest, exacted a high price, as Ed lost 8 fingertips and 3 toes to frostbite. Yet while injured, he led his partners down the storm-bound mountain without food for 3.5 days to safety. This is the riveting story of Ed Webster's lecture, Everest the Hard Way, My Storm Years on Everest. An illustrated lecture and motivational presentation by internationally renowned author, photographer, and mountaineer, Ed Webster. This inspirational lecture details the reasons why the interpersonal chemistry of Ed's 1988 team, the smallest to ever scale one of the 15 major new routes up Mount Everest, made it possible to accomplish such a one-of-a-kind ascent. How did a team of only 4 climbers conquer a brand new climb up the world's highest mountain without using oxygen bottles, radios, or even Sherpa support? How was the team assembled? What made the expedition click? How did the team ascend Everest, then survive a perilous 4-day descent without food? Come take an unforgettable journey to Nepal and Tibet, then climb Mount Everest the hard way.
And so very impulsively, when I saw this beautiful sunrise, this type of light is known as alpenglow, the golden light at dawn, I pulled off my overmitts. I had 2 layers of gloves on. I pulled my overmitts off impulsively. I took out my Nikon. I took 8 photographs in 2 minutes. It was so cold. It was like holding a piece of dry ice in my hands. It was so cold. Do it as fast as you can. I took the pictures, I put the camera away, and it was too late. Mount Everest has been the mountain of dreams and the mountain of desire for many generations of mountaineers. It was my mountain of dreams. It's hard to kind of get a grasp of what 12,000 feet of mountain looks like, but it's really, really big. And it was very, very intimidating. If ever there were some climbers that were, shaking in their boots at the bottom, it was us. We had based this whole expedition on about 6 pictures that we had seen. And our goal was nothing short of the impossible, of attempting a new route up Everest without Sherpa climbers or oxygen or radios. And so the face of the mountain had been climbed once, but this particular route had never been ascended. And for a climber, doing a new route up the highest mountain in the world is the ultimate challenge. It's the ultimate challenge on Earth. And as I was to discover, it's a bit like going to the moon. It took us a month to reach the base camp of the most remote face of Everest, known as the Kangchung face or the east face. This side of the mountain is the most remote side. It's known as the forgotten face of Everest. And this is a picture of me leading one of my rope lengths, where I was the one who went first. I put the anchors, the protection points into the ice as I ice climbed. So I did what's known as the route finding. I found the route up the mountain. No one had ever been here before. This was a virgin section of Everest, a huge unclimbed section of the peak. And it was really steep. The reason why, a lot of people have asked me, why did you climb Everest without Sherpa climbers to help you? The reason we climbed Everest without Sherpas is we didn't want to take the moral responsibility when there was about a 99% chance that one of the Sherpas would have been seriously injured and perhaps killed. And so we decided we're going to have to carry all of our equipment ourselves, just the 4 of us. We don't want to risk any Sherpas getting hurt. To 27,000 feet, to 28,000 feet. At over 28,000 feet, there's only 1/3 the oxygen that there is at sea level, climbing at this extreme altitude with no bottled oxygen. This was our idealistic goal. We were young and brave and maybe a few other things, but we kept climbing higher and higher, and I got to 28,700 feet above sea level. I was hallucinating. I passed out twice. I had this amazing hallucination. I looked up. I kept going until suddenly I had this gut feeling that even if I went another 10 feet, I might not come back alive. Robert pointed, and I turned around, and I saw the most exhausted human being I've ever seen in my life staggering down the mountain. He collapsed next to us. It was Stephen. He was alive. He said to us, he had frozen his nose during his bivouac on the summit ridge. He said to us, I did it. I reached the summit yesterday afternoon. I spent 15 minutes on top of Everest. I took a few photographs to prove that I was there. Couldn't see a thing. It was a whiteout.
You have to have a lot of self-confidence when you venture onto an ice climb. You're reliant upon the equipment, crampons on your boots. In rock climbing, they say that the leader must never fall. In ice climbing, I think that's doubly true. You just can't fall when you're ice climbing. One slip, one fall of 1 foot or 2 feet or 10 feet is enough to injure you in a big way.
At 6 in the evening on the 18th of July, 1939, Fritz and Pasang found themselves 800 feet from the summit. They had one rock face to go before what Fritz thought would be an easy snow slope to the summit. Then, suddenly, Pasang stopped.
Pasang Dawa Lama was very religious, and as a Sherpa, he was also a bit apprehensive about the spirits who lived on the mountain, and he was afraid of the night spirits. And he stopped paying the rope out around his waist, and he said, "No, Sob, we must come back tomorrow." Colorado really is one of the major climbing areas in the United States. We've got fantastic climbing right out our doorstep. Some of the best climbing really in the world, some of the best rock climbing. And then up to the north of Boulder, we've got Rocky Mountain National Park, which has more higher peaks and ice climbing. So Colorado has really played a big part in how I got to go to Mount Everest.
You're talking about all the way. You seem to got it today, Earl.
Feel good today. Today's the day. It's an old 10. Okay. Couple of 9s. Couple of 8s. Okay.
That's 3 9s.
That right there.
You got 3 9s there.
Is this a 9 too?
Uh-huh.
Throw that away.
Yeah.
Take the red and the blue 9.
You don't think you're gonna need this?
You got 2 9s right here,
I know, but if that's the crack is the whole, that's the, I mean, the crack is just one size.
Super crack is what started everything, because it was on my very first trip to the desert that we climbed the route. I'd never seen it before. I'd only heard about it from Jim and from Earl. And so when we came around the corner and finally looked at it, it was, you know, one of those religious moments. When we came here in the first week of November in 1976, in the main part of the canyon, there was not a single crack that had been climbed. It was a psychological jump through this barrier. Could a crack like that even be climbed safely and protected by hexcentrics? No one knew that. Is this really possible? Can somebody really do a crack like this? We didn't know. The only way we were going to find out was to try.
Take the bus or take the train. The space between is still the same. Run away or stay with me. A peaceful soul is on his knees. Can an angel hear a teardrop fall? Jesus, Jesus, save them all. 'Cause nobody seems to know the way we're not supposed to go. And there are things that I cannot see or understand, but I got stronger. This life is longer than I'd hoped to have to get through. And now the grass is lying on the tracks. The tall, tall trees are growing through the cracks. So I can never go back. I miss my mother, the boys are my brothers. I miss the tailwind that sends me home. I got friends on both sides of the border, but we lost a few now as we got older. And now the grass is lying
it was surreal being up there. And, but I've done the climb before, and I knew that if I kept powering up, that eventually I would hopefully make it.
It's barely burning. I can tell she's trying to stay awake now, to hold the day in line. This body's broken. It's gone.
We could have had someone else lead the climb. I could have top roped it, but I felt like that would have been a stepping down from the spirit of when we first did the route. I did sort of step back in time to an earlier age in my life.